multiplayer games. But I'm going to do a single-player game. And should I do the tutorial? I have a. If you want to see the tutorial, if you go to YouTube and search for Offworld Trading Company, you'll see that I did. I played through each of the tutorials and I posted videos about them. But if you want to watch live right now, me playing a single-player match, I'll just do that. So I'm going to play a skirmish game against the AI. I'm going to put my the AI plays at manager. So manager is kind of like the even difficulty level. So I'm going to bump it up to executive just because I have a lot of experience with the game. Play with 3 AI players, normal map size, and let's start the game. Since I am talking, I will. Well, I should be good enough to handle it as it is. I was trying to think whether I'll slow down the map speed. Okay, so this is the scanning phase. I will pause it. So this is the scanning phase. And this is where you sort of determine where to found your headquarters. And right now, so you have 7 scans. You see, each time I click the button, it reduces the number of scans. So I'm scanning, scanning, scanning. I'm finding silicon. I'm finding water. The reason the map isn't changing is because I have the game paused. It's just kind of one of these little polished things we haven't done yet. The game is early access right now. You can buy it on Steam, early access. It's $40. And we still have, we're not going to be releasing the game until 2016. So we're going to put a lot of more work into the game. So this is the phase where you're basically looking for good resources to found. Now there's lots of different colony types, but I'm probably going to focus on the most basic one, which is the expansive type right here. And their big advantage is they get an extra claim each time they upgrade their headquarters, and they use half as much steel for their buildings. So for them, ooh, that's an interesting tile. For them, you want iron and water. Those are probably your most 2 important resources, and aluminum, which means this spot right here is pretty good. So I'm going to click on expansive. I'll find a place to put my colony. I don't want to put it in the crater because you can't. You're going to want to put a lot of buildings around your headquarters, and there's not a lot of room here. I would get kind of trapped. So instead, I'm going to found right here. And then I'm going to go over here. I want some iron, so go to iron, select metal mine, and see this spot right here. Let me pause it for a second. You see that there is both aluminum and iron on this spot. So if I put a metal mine there, I'll produce both aluminum and iron. So I'm going to put a metal mine there. I'm going to unpause it. I'm tempted to. I'm going to do it. I don't think the AI will. It's hard to know what I want to do. What I'm considering putting another metal mine here, because if you do, the 2 metal mines get an adjacency bonus. But there's these 3 high aluminums here, and if I get that, I'll get the aluminum faster. And you need basically when you upgrade early on in the game, you need aluminum and you need steel. So both iron and aluminum are very, very important. So what I'm going to do, I think I'm going to ignore it actually. Instead, I'm going to go for 2 steel mills to give me my steel quicker. And the reason I'm doing that is I don't think the AI is going to grab this low iron tile. It's not particularly important. Unless I'm looking around, is there very little iron on the map? Well, anyway, it's too late. Yes, there is very little iron on the map. Well, then I better look out. I really want to get this tile, so I want to make sure I upgrade as fast as possible so that the other AIs don't get it too. Don't get it. Now, the thing that's important in the game is claims. See right here, I have 0 claims. Every building you make in the game consumes one of those claims. And so, a lot of RTS games, you just want to build as fast as you can. Here, there's a limitation, which is the number of claims you have. So we start off the game, you got 3 claims. So I used it on 1 iron mine and 2 steel mills. And I did 2 steel mills because what you want to do, make sure you're able to do at the beginning of the game, is upgrade your headquarters. That's this button right down here, upgrade. And you see you need 80 aluminum and you need 80 steel to upgrade. So right now I have aluminum and iron coming from this mine here, and I have steel coming from these steel mills.
Freelance pirates are auctioning.
And I'm going to pause the game. One thing I have a hard time with on streaming is being able to follow the comments. So let me see if there's anyone. If there's any questions I want to address here in the stream, in the chat. Yeah, it's on early access right now. I think you can actually go on Green Man Gaming. Yeah, a few other places. Yeah, there's no mini map. You just use the mouse wheel to zoom out and zoom in. We are probably going to have a strategic view at some point that acts kind of like a mini map. Yeah, I'm the lead designer of the game, just so you know. Alright. Just if you have any questions, just add them in the chat. I'll try to check it periodically. So here's a pirate auction. So in auctions, you're bidding against everyone else. You spend debt to win the auctions. I'm going to ignore it for now. 8,000 is a lot for a pirate auction early on. But see, I only have $400. I can still bid. It'll just add to my debt. And basically, debt happens whenever you're forced to buy something and you can't. Like right now, you see, my colony. Let me pause it for a second. My headquarters is consuming water, it's consuming food, it's consuming oxygen, and my buildings are consuming power, and I'm not producing any of those things. So instead, I have to buy it at the market at the price here. I have to buy, 0.2 units of food at $27, which comes out to basically minus $5 a second. And that's why if I unpause, you can see my debt keeps climbing. And the reason debt is important is if you look over at your stock price over here and you mouse over it, there's a lot of stuff going on here, but you see there's a line that says debt minus 1,400 times 6. It means basically your debt is multiplied by 6 as it factors into your share price compared to everything else. The simple version of that is if you go into debt too much, your stock price is going to start dropping. So you'll see that sometimes in competitive play where some player gets hurt a lot, or even some players will take the risk. They'll go for specific resources and allow themselves to go into debt, hoping that they can ride it out. But eventually, you usually do have to address your debt. And you can hit the pay debt button. But it's important to say that debt is not terrible. You can play the game with some debt. It's not that big of a deal. It's better to focus on the resources you need than worry about making sure you have no debt. That's why I'm focused. The resources I need are steel and iron, though. Please don't go for that. Oh boy, upgrade. I'm going to upgrade, and I'm going to claim this tile. Okay, they're going for the high aluminum, and that's fine with me. They're all going to have a good source of aluminum, and that's just going to drive the price down, so aluminum's not going to be a big deal. What I was really worried about was them getting this here. The thing is, I want these two metal lines next to each other so I can get the adjacency bonus. So here's what happens. If I put a metal mine here, I produce 0.95 iron a second. If I put it here, I produce, they're both low iron tires, you see, but if I put it here, you see I get 1.4 iron per second. That's because I get a 50% bonus when you have adjacent metal mines, or adjacent buildings of any type. So if you put two steel mills next to each other, they get that bonus. You put two farms next to each other to get that bonus, so on and so forth. So now I got to worry about what I'm going to do with the other claims. So yeah, eventually you do want to worry about debt. So water is very cheap, so I'm not going to worry about that. But I probably want to build a reactor. So what a reactor does, it turns water into oxygen and fuel. You're basically splitting water into hydrogen and oxygen. And so since water is $3 and oxygen and fuel is $32 and $44, that's a very good conversion right now. I can just buy water directly from the market and manufacture that stuff. I'm also worried a little bit about power. Power is $64, so I probably want to build some power. You can technically put it anywhere, but I like to put my power next to my colony because if power bottoms out, you can then delete your solar panels and do something else with it. So I know I've got a final claim. A good candidate would be either glass, food, more oxygen and fuel, or more power. Right now I see the price of power is still climbing. So I'm going to build more power. So you see that someone's aluminum mine just got blown up. That's someone using the black market over here. There's a bunch of basically things you can buy to screw with other people. EMPs, knock out their buildings, dynamite to blow them up. Mutinies take them over. You can also buy goon squads to protect your buildings from them, which can be kind of cool. Mutiny. Oh, so speak of the devil. So power is so expensive right now that this tile is worth a lot. This solar panel is producing a ton of power, and so someone mutinied from it. Now I don't know who. It's the color is black, so it could be any of these three players. I'm not sure who's the one who mutinied the power. And I also got targeted by an underground nuke. So you remember this tile here that had all those awesome resources? It had low aluminum and low iron. Now it has trace aluminum, trace iron. So now it's producing just a tiny trickle of them. That's not good. That was a good move on their part. That was a very good move on the AI's part. But I do get a somewhat reasonable amount because I had the adjacency bonus from the two mines, but it does mean that I'm not going to have a good source of aluminum. I might need to have to look elsewhere. There is other aluminum on the map. It kind of sucks that I would have to claim it when there were 3 high aluminum mines next to me. What I might actually do is I'm going to buy this mutiny right here. I'm going to mutiny this high aluminum tile. And what that does is I'll get their high... Ah! So, let me pause it to explain what just happened here. So, I mutinied this metal mine here, which means I got the adjacency bonus for my own metal mine here, so that they both, so they were... Okay, let me back up. So I have a high aluminum here, which normally produces like 2 units a turn instead of 1 unit from a low. Because it's adjacent to my metal mine here, it gets the bonus. So it's producing 2.85. So the reason it's not producing 3 is because I'm playing at a slightly higher difficulty level. But at any rate, it's producing a lot because I already have this mine next to it. So it gets the adjacency bonus. Because I just want to get sort of a quick injection of aluminum so I can upgrade. Because you see I need 160 aluminum. So, that's great. However, somebody decided to... Was it an EMP? Yeah, it was an EMP. Someone decided to EMP me here. Which was a great move because they got me and they got this guy right next to me. What's this person doing here? Oh, but that's right, this one got blown up. Blown up, excuse me. And so I mutinied, and then, but it was possibly even the person that I mutinied from that turned around and EMP'd me. So that's the type of thing you'll see in multiplayer. So it's kind of cool to see the AI doing it right back at me. So I'm being hit pretty hard by the AI, but you know, good for them. All right, I'm gonna pause, look at chat for a second. Well, thanks. It looks like there's some people answering questions for people who have some questions, so I appreciate that. Yeah, you can prevent this type of black market stuff. You put a goon squad on top of it. Besides, also, if you put a goon squad on a tile and someone hits it, you get that thing that they used it for, so that they were trying to hit you with. So if I had a goon squad right here on the solar panel when I got hit with the mutiny, I would have actually got a mutiny. I would have stolen the mutiny from the person who used it for me, and their identity is also revealed, which can be very interesting in multiplayer. All right, yeah, no one can see it. Once a goon squad is triggered, meaning someone tries to hit the tile, it's then revealed, but before that, it's invisible. All right, so there's a glass furnace up now. Right, oxygen is going high, so I'm going to sell my fuel. I'm going to try to buy into the shortage, basically. Sell my steel, buy as much oxygen. Okay, the price has now gone up to the highest, so I'll sell all the oxygen. I get a profit. I want to upgrade, but it wasn't quite enough to upgrade. I need glass. All right, let me buy glass now before the price gets much higher. So now I basically got to wait for my steel to come in. Or my aluminum. I'm not going to get much aluminum. But at least I can sell this oxygen and fuel, which is a pretty good price. This one building is producing a lot for me. If you mouse over a building, it'll tell you how much... It's interesting. It's not as much as I thought. If you mouse over a building, it'll tell you how much revenue you're getting from it. So right now, I'm getting basically the equivalent of $16 a second from it in revenue, and that's because you see the price of fuel is going up. That's why you see the revenue price rising so much. It subtracts out the money. Oh, I know why. Because look at the price of power. The price of power is huge. That's why it factors in how much water and power I'm consuming to create that oxygen and fuel. And that's why the revenue is not quite as high as you think. But I've got 2 solar panels, so not so bad. In fact, because the price of power is so high, it might be a good time to mutiny someone who's doing best. Probably Mr. Entertainment, Ms. Entertainment, excuse me, who has wind power right here. So I'm going to steal their wind power, and that nets me. I'm right now. I'm making like 400 a second off of power. Another pirate auction. Wow, you know, other things will come up for auction. Sometimes it's claims, sometimes it's tiles, sometimes it's patents. So always pirates. I'm not shipping a lot of stuff, so I'm not necessarily worried about someone getting the pirates. Oftentimes you bid on a pirate auction just to prevent someone from pirating you. But what happens with pirates, you see these guys hanging around here, these are pirates. You put them on the map, and you see the blimps. You know, aluminum's coming out of this metal mine and it's being shipped to the colony. These pirates are going to try to shoot down the blimps. I would estimate that about half of the blimps get through, but half of them do not. And when they shoot them down, whatever's in the blimp goes to the player who hired the pirates. Dust storm's coming up. Okay, so that reduces how much power you get from solar panels and also drives up the price. During the night, by the way, your solar panels also turn off, so you have to worry about that aspect of power. Okay, I can upgrade my colony. So I better get myself some water. Water has definitely become an issue. So I think I'm actually just going to go for 2, because I couldn't find a high. There's also ice up here. I can build solar condensers here to get water, but medium water is a pretty good thing to start with. Leaves me with 2 more claims. I think I should focus on these reactors. I'm going to build 3 reactors and ignore food because I'll get a huge 100% bonus. Let me show you. Let me read this again. So remember you saw I got 50% bonus when you put your buildings next to each other. If you got 2 buildings next to each other, you get a 100% bonus. So I'm going to be creating a huge amount of oxygen and fuel for this. Ooh, nice, nice. The price of aluminum has crashed, so I'm going to buy up aluminum. So now I don't necessarily have to worry about the fact that I don't have a good source of aluminum. So that's really nice. What else do I want to do right now? Ran out of claims. I want to bribe a claim from the market. So you can also buy claims from the market if we get to 12,000. Notice every time you buy something on the black market, the price goes up, and that means it goes up for everyone. So that's kind of the limitation. Like there won't be an infinite number of EMPs. There will be only so many, because eventually the price will be like 80,000 or 100,000 or something, where it's so much where it's not worth doing. Ooh, the price of water has really gone up. I'm actually going to turn off my electrolysis reactors because I don't want them to turn this water, which is currently worth 114, into oxygen and fuel, which is not worth much more. Because basically it takes, see if you look at this, it takes you turn 1 oxygen. Well, I am getting a pretty good rate because I've got the 100% bonus. Normally, basically, it takes 2 waters to make 1 fuel and half a thing of oxygen. So it's not a 1-to-1 conversion rate. But the price of water is so high and the price of power is so high. But again, if you mouse over the buildings, you see that the net revenue is actually $88. So if it's high like that, it's probably worthwhile doing that. Oh, I missed out on the patent for teleportation. That would have been nice. Then I wouldn't need blimps. Everything would just travel. That was huge. I made a huge mistake there letting that go.
Scientific colony expanded.
Speaking of patents, maybe right now would be a good time to build a patent lab. No one else has one, so maybe I can start cleaning up on them. And look at that, the price of chemicals dropped. What you need to research stuff is chemicals. So if I buy a bunch of chemicals once it hits the bottom of the market, then I'll be able, once my patent lab is up, I'll be able to do all sorts of really interesting tests, like slant drilling. Oh, slant drilling would be awesome, because then my metal mine here will be able to start working in tiles basically adjacent. Essentially, I drink your milkshake. It's that type of thing. Like you can start, mining, in tiles adjacent to you. So it can start using this high aluminum here. And this mine here can use the low iron that's next to it. Alright, so I think I'll just go right for that. Go for slant drilling. What else would be good? Well, the price of power is so high, I'm going to go for perpetual motion. Reduces my use of power in half. Oh, superconductor would be nice also, because I've got that doubles the power production of buildings that are adjacent to your colony, and you see my solar panels are. So in fact, I'll do that first. So I'm going to cancel the perpetual motion, and then put that next. Oxygen shortage. Price of oxygen is going up, so I'm going to buy into that shortage. Buy a bunch of oxygen, sell my fuel, buy more oxygen, drive up the price more. The price of oxygen keeps rising. Now I sell once it's the top. Made 62. Well, now I got 62,000, so I can probably make a run on this player. So this is the stock market. This is how you actually win the game. You buy up shares in other players. Once you own all their shares, you actually take them over. You get their colony. And I've got enough money I can come pretty close. This guy, each time I buy him, his price goes up. He must not be doing very well because he's not buying his own shares to defend himself. So once it's red, you can buy to buy them out. If someone else bought this last share, I could force a buyout by basically buying the shares that I don't own at double price. But right now, no one else owns shares in him. So as soon as I buy the last share, I take him over. So now I've got 2 colonies. So let me check out what he's got. So Miss Sabotage was Scavenger. And so she's got some carbon production, she's got some water production, so that's great. That's currently EMP'd. So I can basically all their buildings, all their... Oh, awesome! Buying them out got me this metal mine here, which is perfect for me. Our buildings are a little bit all over the place. I'm actually going to delete this hydrolysis reactor so I can put a wind power down here. Ooh, why did you put a wind power there? That was not a great place for wind power. I got some work to do on my AI, it looks like. So instead, I'm actually going to delete these. They're on ice, so I'm going to build some ice condensers. Alright. Mutiny. My water pump got mutinied. Well, not surprising. And I also looks like I got nuked here. Alright, so I really need to start. I need to upgrade this colony here. Problem is glass. Oh yeah, no source of silicon or glass. Well, the thing is, oxygen has been worth so much. I've been making so much money off of that. I haven't had to worry about these things I don't know, like glass. But it's probably about time to do that. Alright, so I'm going to build another ice condenser here to get the big bonus. Actually, since it's water so much, I'm just going to do it again. I can always convert these to other types of buildings later. Power is a big deal.
I hate those
So I think maybe I'll build another power here. Once I get superconductor, this is going to produce a ton of power. I'll bomb out the market, but I'll make a lot of money doing it. And maybe some glass. I don't have a source of silicon, but I can always just buy it from the market. Alright, thanks everyone for answering the questions in the chat. I appreciate that. I'm trying to just have stream of consciousness here as I play. I'm making so much money off of the oxygen and fuel. I do need to worry a little bit about that. Now I'm losing $250 a second to food, but in net, I'm actually not losing debt because I'm making so much money off of power. But you see, because I'm making a huge amount from these solar panels, each one of them is producing over 2 units of power a second. But, of course, you can see the price of power is crashing. So soon that's going to be over, and my debt's going to start going back up again. That's, see the money I'm making per second is dropping.
Your stock is
and once they
being
cross, oh, it looks like Miss Entertainment is starting to do pretty well for herself. Not sure why. But we can take care of that pretty quickly. Maybe if I do a little EMP there. That'll slow her progress quite a bit. And of course, when she buys me up, a good way to counter that is start buying her up, because once I buy her up, I'll get the stock that she owns in me. So when you take someone over, you don't just get their headquarters and their buildings, you also get all the stock that they own in other players. Alright, so let me do another upgrade. Build some more glass furnaces. Oh, but I do need some silicon. Let me buy some silicon for the glass furnace.
10,000.
I don't know if I really wanted that pirate. I'm just bidding kind of by instinct. Where's the silicon? Whoa, there's no silicon on this map. But I have slant drilling. That's what's saving me here. I can put silicon mines next to this high silicon here because I have slant drilling. Otherwise, I wouldn't be able to get it. I'd be in big trouble. Upgrade again.
Prettiest looking upgrade.
Another glass furnace up. Probably now is the time to actually go ahead and build some farms. Can't get away with it forever, avoiding the farms. Put them out here.
The black market is online.
Because eventually I probably don't need that much water. I can switch over and make this a farm instead. Because farms is making more money than water. I hit Control Shift down, sold all my resources, so I can upgrade myself. Oh, I do have some pirates. So we click on pirates, it'll show you all the blimp routes going on the map that you can pirate. So water is 56, iron's 50, carbon 67. Basically everything's worth a lot. I'd love to steal some carbon. Maybe shipping carbon. That kind of looks black. Oh, there's steel coming from here. This guy has some steel mills here. So I'm going to steal that. I'm going to steal the steel. That's very nice. Let's see if I can get to the next level. Build Offworld market. So I need electronics to do that. So, well, no. First I need to upgrade. I'm missing is steel. So my food. Let's see. Is there anything I should patent? Carbon scrubbing would be nice. Yeah, carbon scrubbing. Still sell more glass. I need 74,000 to upgrade because I just don't have enough steel, basically. Oh, I have all these extra claims I'm not doing anything with. Well, let me build some more. Build some more steel. Do I have enough iron? I do. Whoa, I have a ton of aluminum. Maybe I'm going to short aluminum. Well, everyone's got aluminum. That's dangerous. I'm not going to worry about that. Oh, I can build my off-road market now. Okay, let me try to put someplace none of my other buildings are. I'm also going to build a goon squad. Build off-road market. You definitely want to put a goon squad on it because it's definitely going to be a target of sabotage or mutinies or whatever. Got EMP'd. Carbon's a good price. Alright, so I'm going to hold down shift. I just sold by the hundreds. Lets me buy a bunch of stock in other players. Nanotech, I want that. That lets you delete your buildings and you get all the resources back. Like if it costs, 50 iron, 50 steel to build, Pleasure Dome, you destroy the Pleasure Dome, you get the steel back. Alright. So I got all that money from that huge carbon, increase of carbon. I don't know where that came from. Mr. Production has a hacker array. This is something that can manipulate the prices on the market. He can drive up the price of water or drop the price of food, whatever he wants to do. The question is, what does he have a lot of? He has a lot of food. Wow, look at all that food. I bet he's going to be driving up the price of food. And I'm actually losing food, so I should worry about that. So I might actually want to rework some of my buildings here to make sure I have enough food, because I'm anticipating he's going to short food, drive up the price.
The black market is online.
So I better buy a lot of water in anticipation of these farms is going to soak up, suck up all that water. Okay, so now I got an Offworld market up. So the nice thing about the Offworld market is it's a market. You're basically selling your resources off planet, off world, if you will. You're going to be selling it to basically the asteroid belt is the idea. Like there's valuable metals on the asteroid belt, so there's people mining the asteroids, but they don't have a good source of water, food, oxygen, fuel, all sorts of various things that you can make cheaper on Mars and ship to them. Cheaper on Mars, I say that because Mars is a much smaller planet than Earth, so it costs a lot less fuel basically to send a rocket off of Mars than it would to send it off of Earth. So that's the basic idea of the game here, is that the Offworld market, once the Offworld market is available, you see the prices off-world. And right here it says 38,000K. That means you can sell 100 units of fuel for $38,000. Whereas right now on World, fuel is $50. So 100 fuel would be $5,000 on World. Instead, you can sell for $38,000 off-World. So you can make a pretty big profit there. So I'm going to click on that. But you're limited how much you can sell off-World by how many off-World markets you have. So I'm going to click it again. So that's going to queue up 2 launches. Each launch takes about a minute, but each time I launch, I'm going to get $38,000. So that's pretty nice. But in the meantime, I'm making a lot of money off-world, so I might just be able to win the game based off of how much money I'm making on-world. These prices are great.
The dirty rat trying to break out.
There we go. I buy out Miss Entertainment. We get virtual reality. Now that I have Pleasure Dome, it'll double the amount of money I'm getting from the Pleasure Dome. Let me show you the Pleasure Dome. Pleasure Dome here. This is just a building that basically just produces money. It's like a bar or something, basically. It just produces money every second for you, but it's proportional to the number of people on the map. So the more headquarters there are and the more they're upgraded, the more money they'll produce, but then it's divided by the total number of Pleasure Domes on the map. So if you have the only Pleasure Dome on the map, you can make a lot of money, and then as soon as someone else builds one, you basically split the revenue between the two of you. So you don't want to let one person have the only Pleasure Dome. Alright, so I got 2 launches going on. Let's trigger up another one. Alright, so the AI is definitely making a run at me. But I just need $200,000 to buy them out. So I'm not going to worry about defending myself and buy my own stock. I'm just going to try to get to 290,000. I just need these 2. Once these 2 Offworld shipments come in, they're each 40,000 apiece. So that should get me close enough. And you see this number here, 78%. That's how close Mr. Production is to buying me out. So I probably want to do something about that. I probably should try to blow up Mr. Production's
We're not surprised. Just
Offworld market, which of course was defended by a, they're actually, oh geez, they're getting close. Wait, why did I do that? Why did I sell his stock? That was dumb. I'm just going to buy it back. Oof, that was close. The AI actually bought me back. That number represents how close the AI is to buying you out. Probably what happened there is the AI just had an awful shipment take off, which is why they saw that sun jump from 80% to 100%. So I almost actually lost there. I probably could have made myself a little safer. I'm guessing I let debt get out of control there. I wasn't paying attention much to debt during that game. So maybe my stock price should have been higher, but you can be careful. Like sometimes the one player left in the game could sneak in a win if they stockpile enough money. All right. Well, thanks for watching, guys. As I mentioned, we're up on early access. The people who bought the game seem to be enjoying it a lot. There's a lot of people playing multiplayer right now. It's a ton of fun in multiplayer. You see the single player mode. There's also a campaign mode, which is more of a long form, like 4, 5, 6 hour experience where you play multiple missions that where you're basically kind of like unlocking and upgrading your buildings as you go. So when you start it, you actually don't have access to all the buildings. You might just have access to like the metal mine, the steel mill, the water pump, the farm, the basics, but maybe not the electronics factory or the chemical lab, and definitely not the off-road market and stuff like that. You have to unlock it as you go. So that's a pretty good mode. We're doing active development. We have usually a major update coming out every 3 weeks. We're on early access because we're actively seeking feedback from the community. We're playing multiplayer games a lot. We're talking a lot with our community, and a lot of the changes that we've made since we released in February have been directly based off of things we've seen from people playing online. We watch people play on Twitch a lot, and we play with them. So thanks for watching. If you have any questions, I'll be here for another few minutes. I'll be happy to answer them as they come through on chat. So we picked up a lot of followers from that. And I can't believe how many people are watching today. That was really awesome. Looks like most of the questions kind of got answered in chat by some other people hanging out, so I really appreciate that. Grab as mentioned, it seems like I won't need to have StarCraft style skills. I like that. Yeah. So this is, I like to call it sort of a macro RTS instead of a micro RTS. You're not. It's definitely not going to be based off actions per minute. I mean, certainly there is a little bit of speed in terms of how much you can use the market. But when you play the game, you're only maybe claiming 15 to 20 tiles a game. So you're kind of like you're only making so many buildings. The number of decisions you make per minute is not necessarily all that high. It's more about making the right decision at the right time. But I think the really important thing is you don't have to worry about managing units. You're not really fighting the interface. Most of the decisions you make in Offworld are at a very high level. I want to claim this tile, I want to bid on this auction, I want to buy these resources. Basically everything is 1 or 2 clicks away. You don't have to worry about forgetting some units that are on the side of the map, or finding all the units, or you have this giant battle going on and trying to select the units at the right time, or microing the right abilities at the right time. Instead here, everything is usually available to you right away, wherever you are on the map. And we're working on notifications for things that you might have missed. If you have a building that's destroyed by dynamite, there's a little thing that appears at the top to remind you of it. You click on that, it'll take you to it right away, and you can repair it. We're trying to make the interface as easy to use as possible. But yeah, it's a game that you can play at a high level. I don't know if you were watching earlier. For the very first game, my wife won, and she's never played RTSs before at all. She's never played PC games, period. So it was really awesome to see her win against me and some very, very good players. Who knows? Maybe StarCraft is next for her. I'm not sure, but basically what I'm saying is, if you shouldn't worry about the fact that you can't handle a game like StarCraft. That shouldn't keep you away from an RTS like Offworld. This is very much more of a it's fast-paced. These games don't take that long, which means they're great for multiplayer. But it's not like it's not based off of Twitch or reflexes. Joskos asks, is this game a lot about economics, or is it just an RTS? Well, we like to call it an economic RTS. So I don't know if I'm answering your question or not. It is an RTS in the sense that it fits the format. It's about 30 minutes long. You can play with up to 8 people. It's good at team play. It's very competitive. The game has a nice arc to it. But there's no units. There's no combat. There's sort of limited bad stuff you can do to each other with the black market. I mean, it's there, but it's not necessarily the focus of the game. So the focus of the game is on that market. You got these 13 resources, and the prices go up and down, totally depending upon the actions that the players take in the game. So it's very much about economics and claiming resources and predicting what's going to go up, predicting what's going to be going down, managing your logistics, making sure that the buildings you build are the right investments at the right time. You can play up to 8 people at a time, 8 players in a game. You can also play team games. Some other questions. Wow, much stream asks, have you looked into the Offworld market fluctuating as much as the Mars market does? I mean, part of the reason, the point of the Offworld market not fluctuating is it sort of ensures that the game ends. One thing you can see in some games is as people upgrade their HQ and their buildings, they use the industrial lab, which is a building I didn't get into in single player, but basically it makes you improve how fast your buildings produce stuff. So it can go 25% bonus, 50, 75, 100% bonus. Your buildings can produce so much stuff that you can basically sort of crash the price on the planet. Like all the, if no one buys out, if everyone does pretty well and no one gets bought out early, you get to this sort of period of the game where suddenly all the prices on world get depressed, and that's because basically you're producing more resources than your local market needs, so of course the prices go down. So you need those off-world prices to be high and constant, because it's like, okay, this is a way that no matter what, you can still make revenue even after the game, even after the on-world prices have crashed. Yeah, I've seen a lot of people, typically I've seen a lot of people playing 6-player games recently. You can go to 8, I think 8 gets a little crazy, 6 a little better. I actually think 4 is the best, but people seem to like the bigger games, I don't know. Yeah, games take about 20 to 30 minutes. Yes, we are going to have a ranking and ladder system. Stardock is building a system called Tachyon that's going to be coming online over the coming year. So we're working on matchmaking and that type of stuff. But right now, this is just early access. There's we wanted it to get online. We wanted to see multiplayer play as soon as possible, so we did it before we had a matchmaking system, which has worked out well because we were able to balance the game early. As for the engine, we're using Unity. It's worked out really well for us. We started our Unity project about maybe 13 months ago, and we've been able to make really good progress quickly with it. So yeah, I really like Unity. Yeah, thanks for watching. I'm glad you liked it, Joskus. Yes, we are very inspired by Mule, as Willoughby mentions. Mule is a great game. We're also inspired by Railroad Tycoon, a game called Belter. The market building in Age of Kings, if you remember that, Age of Empires 2, was a building you could click on that you can buy and sell your wood and stone and food, and the prices went up and down globally. That's very similar to the way things work here. But Mule was definitely a huge impact on us. Probably that's where we get the basic idea of claiming plots and like colonizing a new planet and stuff like that. And of course, obviously, the free market being the basis of the gameplay. Yeah, we're still working on the neutral colony. That's probably one part of the game right now that's not really as in focus as it should be. There's some complicated algorithms going in the background that determines its growth. I think I'm actually going to kind of simplify a lot of that stuff and only expose the growth algorithms in the campaign, which is sort of a broader, longer version of the game. So we're still going to be doing a lot of work with that. Let's see. Probably asks, will there be a gap between beta and release, or will it be open to me once I buy it forever? No, once you buy it on early access, you'll have it forever. You'll never be locked out of the game once you buy it on early access. Is the game mechanic? By the sort asks, so is the game mechanics wise and in-game assets not just near complete, or is there a lot of content in the plan? The game mechanics, I think, are pretty solid at this point. We're pretty happy with them, except for the campaign. I'm still putting a lot of work into the campaign to kind of change, improve it, make it a little bit different. But I think the core game itself works pretty well. I'm, of course, going to be spending a lot of time still working on the AI. But as for the art and the UI and stuff like that, there's still a lot of stuff to be done. There's a lot of buildings. Like if you look at the sort of the map right now, a lot of these buildings here are just placeholders. Certainly the headquarters in the middle is placeholder art. And so a lot of that stuff is going to be improved going forward. Let me show you one more thing. These are the end game stats. we get some cool graphs showing, you know, these are the stock prices over the course of the game. Here's the insane resource graph where you can see, you can zero in on specific resources. Like you just want to see the price of power. Just want to see the price of power over the course of the game. Oh, that's power and steel. So you see power has a big bump here in the middle. Remember, I made a bunch of money off it with those 3 solar powers that I put next to my colony once it got superconductor. But then, of course, that crashed the price because I made it so much. But you see, steel was on the nice steady. We just kept going up, 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 up the whole game. And this giant drop in the middle here, at the end here, was probably us selling steel, trying to buy each other out. You can also usually see some interesting stuff if you select kind of groups. Like if I select water, food, oxygen, fuel, these are all related to each other because you make you make food, oxygen, and fuel from water. So you know, the price of water should always be lower than the prices of the other resources. You're usually at sort of like a 2-to-1 ratio. But you see the price of water got too expensive here in the mid game. So this is the point when going into water was a pretty good deal. It looks like a bunch of people did, and then of course that crashed the price of water. I'm not sure why fuel dropped so low. Sometimes it's not actually clear why things happen. And here is a chart that shows you how much money I made off the various different things. So you know, I only actually got $38,000 selling stuff Offworld. Instead, I made most of the money off of glass, off of carbon, after steel. Yeah, I don't know why carbon was so expensive. That was kind of weird. Off of your core water resources, your food, oxygen, and fuel. Although I did have to auto purchase $128,000 of food. That's probably why my debt got so high, and I was actually in danger to buy that right at the end. Yeah, PB mentioned that the colony doesn't grow in the campaign, or I guess anywhere, if the price of auction stays above 60. I actually can increase that to 100, and I'll be increasing that to 100 in the next update. But I think in the main game, I'm just going to have the colony is not going to grow or shrink. It's just going to be at a certain size, and the types of buildings you see, you'll look at that, and then you'll get a sense of how the market is going to change over the course of the game. For example, if you see the colony has a bunch of laboratories, you know that probably the price of chemicals is going to go up. If you see it's a lot of residential buildings, then probably the price of food is going to go up, stuff like that. Yeah, if you go to planetmule.com or at least search for Planet Mule, you can try it out now. I think you can also actually get it on the iPad. Yeah, although I'm not sure if it works in multiplayer, which is unfortunate. It may work now. I haven't played it for quite a while. But you at least get a sense of the way the game is. By this way, asked about the price of the game. Yeah, the price of the game is going to stay the same. It's $40 now. It'll be $40 after release. And we're not really messing around with our price. You know, we think it's a good game. We think it's worth $40 now. We think it'll be worth $40 after we release the game. Oh yeah. Mr. Cat. Mr. 50 Cal says, did teleportation affect the cost of fuel? That could be. As soon as I got teleportation, all of my blimps stopped. I didn't need my blimps anymore. So, you know, then there's much less demand for fuel, which is why perhaps the price crashed like that. All right, guys, I think I'm going to have to go. I've been hitting the 2-hour mark of the stream, so but I really appreciate everyone sitting through this, and it was awesome to see how many people jumped onto the Twitch stream. That was really fantastic. You know, I hope some of you give the game a chance, and I hope that we see you online.